hopefully it'll fix the problem this time. The fact that I don't remember hearing that yesterday, so maybe that's why it didn't work. All right, so today we're going to talk about how to use the new blogging platform. If anybody on the call hasn't really done any blogging yet, please make sure that, and you haven't taken the training that I did a couple of years ago, please make sure you use the link to the YouTube video about just blogging in general to make sure you have that aspect of blogging down. This is more of a technical aspect on how to actually use the software to put the blogs in. And as I've told people before, if this is really overwhelming and you're only going to blog every once in a while, it's perfectly acceptable to go ahead and do the blog in Word, find pictures, and then send it to either your visitor services specialist or Shelley Lead or myself, and we can actually put it in. So I don't think that this is hard, and if you've already been blogging, you're going to find that the blog platform is very similar to what we've already been using. So I don't think it's a problem, but I just want to make sure everybody realizes that if this doesn't turn out to be their cup of tea, this end of it, you can still blog and in different ways. So first I wanted to show you basically all the great places where we link to the blog now and give you an idea of some of the blog, the aspects of the blog that make it way nicer than our old one. And so I'm starting here with basically our main website page. And if I scroll down to the bottom in this blue section, right under Stay Connected, if you click on Blog, this is the listing of blogs with the recent blog on top. And it's basically the blog title, the little blurb. I'll show you where the blurb comes from when we do actually use the software, and a thumbnail image. If you see any blogs with missing pictures, it is a Flickr issue. I don't know what's going on with Flickr, but one of the things I found out on Friday is that I could see a picture, but Amy Atwood out in Southwest Virginia couldn't see a picture, so whatever's going on with Flickr is hit or miss and not universal. So, maybe if you were to go in on this link on your computer, you might actually see the picture of the bird that's missing here. So it's just very strange, and hopefully, I think they probably are over capacity on their servers, or they've got a server down, and hopefully they'll fix it soon. So anyway, that's why that's missing the image. But anyway, this is just the listing, and again, it's the most recently posted blog. It's going to be on top. And all you'd have to do would be to actually click on the title, and that would give you the link to the blog. Again, that tree swallow picture is missing, but the one down here, the white-throated sparrow, is there. And this is a cool feature the new blog has, is where you can use this gray box to highlight information. So that's a nice feature. The other thing is that we have what I need from everybody that's going to be blogging is a short bio and a picture. And that's because, let me show you what that looks like. So for instance, here's a blog I did. And if I click on my name, it takes me to the page that has my picture and a bio that's way longer than it has to be. So one paragraph, if that's all you feel comfortable with, is fine. This is longer than it really probably should be. And then underneath that, all of the blogs that in chronological order, the most recent on top that I have posted. And you can go back to get even more. So, I mean, that's a really cool feature. If somebody's interested, reads a blog that you wrote and they like what you wrote and they want to see more things, they have that opportunity. So that's one of the great ways that we can search. If for instance, we have somebody that's a guest blogger, like this one, right now we're having it go to Parker's picture. And we also, let's see, let me go back, open to this up. This is the way the guest blogger, which is anybody that's not an official blogger, would appear this way. And if I click on that again, I think it's going to, if Monica had written several blog posts, it would link to her. it would put the other posts that she had done. So that's a pretty cool feature. The other interesting thing is you can search by whatever term you want. You can search by blogs about a park. You can search in these categories, and even though there's only 8 or 9 categories here, if you click on, say, Other, you get all of the categories that you'll see when we go to do our blogs that you can pick to describe what the different articles are about. So there's more things under here. It's collapsed to a shorter number because the psychological testing on people that do websites prefer fewer choices. Anything more than 8, and they get confused. So, and there's actually a lot of research on that. So that's basically what that. So that's one way to find it, which was from the home page down at the bottom. The other place is down here under Read Our Blog, also on the main page. We've changed that a little. We actually have the feature blogs at the top, and then we have these other blog options, which are the chronological blogs listed. And you see we have a little slider button so you can do more. Before, there were only 5, and they would have only been the feature blogs. We also have the option of fixing it so the feature blogs last how long we want them to. So on Thursday, when the Kids to Parks Day, whatever day this week the Kids to Parks Day blog is going to post, it'll run all the way until May 16th, which is Kids to Parks Day, and then it won't be featured anymore. So that's another cool option, and I'll just describe to you how to do that when we get there. And then the final place where you can find blogs is if you go to a particular park, like Bear Creek, and down in this section, if you go down to here, you click on the blogs tab, and these will be the blogs that mention that particular park. And you can click to get more, which will basically give you the same list of if you search by Bear Creek. Ultimately, we're hoping to be able to link to the cabins and camping information on the general pages on the website. They would have blogs about cabins, blogs about camping. And so hopefully we'll add that later. The web folks are having a usability study done on our website that will give us some more information about how people use our website and how they're looking to use it, and making sure we're doing everything we can to maximize their experience. And once that's done, we can consider making some changes like adding the blog in more places. So at any rate, that's the different places you can get the blog, and here you tell we're still having a lot of issues with these images. And so then we're going to go to actually the blog itself. Now, I'm trying to remember who all is on this call, but some of you already have access to Yoda, which is a database system that Andy Patel has set up with PCO, and it basically has a bunch of different applications. And I know for those of you that know me, you know my dog's name is Yoda. It's nothing to do with my dog. It's actually an acronym. I think it's like Your Online Database Application, something like that is what the Yoda stands for. And so if, for instance, if you guys are doing web content review, you have access to Yoda. If you're involved in the automobile vehicle maintenance database, you're already on Yoda. If you review surveys, you're already on Yoda. So basically, it's a place where we put a lot of different things that are different applications. That's all one portal that you can access it. If you didn't already have access to Yoda, you would have gotten an email from me over the weekend. It would have said, I can't remember how it's worded. You might have thought it was spam, but it was an invitation to sign up and get your password to Yoda. If you missed it, no worries. I can show you how to do that. It won't be a problem. But at any rate, this is the login for Yoda, so you're going to want to bookmark that. So it's basically www.bcr.virginia.gov and then /login. And that's the basic login. And then your username is your first name dot last name. just from your email address. So your email address minus the @dcr.virginia.gov, and then your password. If you don't remember your password, you can click this "Can't access your account." And when you do that, make sure you put the rest of your email address in before the @dcr.virginia.gov. If you forget to do that, nothing will happen. It's not necessarily intuitive. So put that in there and hit go, and it will send you an email with your password. If you hadn't gotten the original one and set yourself up, there is a way that you can change it to a password that you like. You will not ever be required to change this password, so you can make it something that you're going to remember, and that makes it easy. It's one of those ones that you won't have to change every so often. Okay, so once you have your username and password entered, you click Submit. Now, I have a lot of different Yoda apps, so my screen is going to be way busier than yours. So Andy's actually set up a favorite app, so I could put the things that I do the most up the top. But what you're mostly going to see up here is personal information and sign out, and you may or may not have the recycle bin. And then, let's see, down here you will definitely have the comments and the blog. You won't have tags and bloggers because that's administrative, so you're just seeing those because I have access to them. But if you have other, like we also do our TrailQuest and geocaching program we do through Yoda. We do our survey through Yoda. There's the vehicle maintenance database, then the web content review. So we have all kinds of things that we're doing, and I only anticipate there being more because it's just really easy to have one sign-in to be able to get on and use it. Ultimately, I know Andy's working on a database with fees so that we can insert specific fees into our website, which we can't do right now because it's a pain to change them. So we're working on a lot of ideas. Andy does a lot of cool things with the applications. So anyway, there's the blogs down here again. You'll see comments and blogs. You probably won't ever need to use the comments. At this point, I am responding to the ones that come in, deleting the spam, and we can't delete comments we don't like. We have permission only to delete spam. So I've deleted a few spam comments, but if I need help from the person that wrote the blog to respond to the comment, I will ask you. And if you want to, if somebody just makes a nice comment, you want to reply back, you can do it right in the tool. You don't actually have to use Yoda to do that. So I don't know how much you'll actually need to do that. Now the blog one, you will need to be using that. So that will be one that you will use fairly often when you're writing a blog. Okay, so there's two things that you can do here. If you're just going to start from this screen and write a new blog, all you have to do is hit the plus. But if you want to look at a previous blog or edit something, or you can also create a new blog, you can go to this blogs button, and that's going to take you to a blog list. And I'm going to click on that now. Sometimes it's very picky where I click sometimes. I think it's my mouse. All right, now I will see everybody's blog because I'm an administrator. You're only going to see yours. So basically, I would only see, if I were just a user, I would just see my blogs. These are listed in a particular way. They're sorted first based on status. So the statuses are approved, draft, awaiting approval, and inactive. And so I don't think inactive actually, there aren't any, so there's no list for that. But that's an alphabetical listing, so approved is always going to be on top. And the published date is the next thing it looks for. So you're going to have the most recently approved, the farthest in the future approved blog, which is this one that's supposed to run May 8th. And you can basically look on this list down to see the blogs that we already have scheduled, starting from yesterday. The weekend is for the birds. So the ones today where I'm talking about relaxing the weekstay cabin stay at some parks. An article about Wilderness Road, which was the park of the month for April. And then there's the Kids to Park Stay on Thursday for April 30th. And then the first blog for the park of the month for May, which is Stanton River. So those are all in, again, the most future date approved blog will be on top. And the next thing is by title. So if you had two blogs that had 5.8 on it, it would list you by title. But that would only be if the time was the same, so that's probably never going to happen. So that's how that list works. If you start a blog and it's in draft, then it would probably be way down the bottom if you have a whole bunch of them. If you've just started blogging, it won't be that many. But the quickest way to find an article that's either in draft or waiting for approval is to click in the search button, type draft, and then go to status, because that's what this header is. Click on status and click on the magnifying glass. And I was hoping Stacy still had her blog in draft. Stacy, thank you. So that's where your draft would appear. So that's what that lists. And so now I'm going to go back. Okay. So, and now just with the rest of this, you won't see an X button because you're not allowed to delete anything. If something needs to be deleted, just let me know. But you will see this little icon that looks like a piece of paper with lines on it and the pencil. And I will show you what those two things do. The piece of paper, you click on that, it's basically a summary of the blog. It's not to change anything, it's just basically the data. The most important thing that has is it has the link to the actual blog itself. So once you have worked on the blog for a while and you want to see what it's going to look like, you go to the list, you click on the little piece of paper icon, and click on that URL, and there is what your blog is going to look like. So again, one picture not coming through. Okay, so that's what that blog looks like. So that's the main thing it does, but it would also show you the basic information. You can see down here where the body of the blog is, that's not at all what it really looks like. So it's just basically the data itself. So really the only thing you're going to probably use on that is to go and check to see what the blog looks like. So what you'll use more often is the pencil, which you could also get to from this screen, and that's to edit the blog. But I've already, but I'll show you from the other screen too. It doesn't want to do anything. There we go. Alrighty, and then so if I use the pencil, this opens the actual blogging window. And that's what, when you create a new blog, that's the tool that you're going to have to put your blog in with. And I'm going to go through all of those steps in a minute. The one thing you won't see are these internal comments because that's just for administrative staff. And for those of you that have been blogging, and if you didn't know, all of the old blogs off of Imperial back to 2011 got moved over to the new system. So, and those of you that hadn't done, might have written some blogs, but somebody else put them in the system, I've connected them to your name so that they will show with your bio. The only thing I have a problem is we did a lot of blogs where 2 people wrote them, and there's really nothing I can do in that situation except leave them as guest bloggers. So let me go and show you, this is basically what it looks like when you finish your blog. And I'm going to go through the whole steps with how how you would enter a blog in a minute. Does anybody have any questions yet? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back here to the main screen. And again, when you start a new blog, you can do it either from your dashboard, which is the listing in Yoda where you have all your general stuff, and by clicking that plus button, or you can actually just click add a record from this screen. And I'm going to click that. Okay, when you open the new blogging window, you're going to start with the draft. It's always going to start in draft status, which is where you want it to be. And then it's going to ask for a title. The title is limited to 70 characters. So just keep that in mind. Anything longer than that is not a title anymore. It's a statement. So I'm going to type this as a test. And then I'm going to hit Tab to get down to the next line and explain that. Okay, the old blog created titles with numbers. So every time you opened a new blog, it added a number. And so they were all based on the numbers without the text. Our new blog has the words from the title, and that actually helps Google and Yahoo searches find blogs and deliver content. So that's good for us to have people find our blogs. So, so that's one of the reasons we're going with that. If it was a blog in the old system, you will see both the text that's the title and the number. And that kind of tells you where the blog came from, the old system. All right, and what this is if I hadn't deleted the blog I was playing with yesterday when I did the training, I'd already have a blog that was called This Is a Test. And because that's actually making the URL, and you can't have two blogs with the exact same address, it gives you the opportunity to tell you, oh, that one's already been used. You don't have to go and change your title. All you have to do is add something like a or some other character, or fix something, like take out one of those dashes, anything to make it more different from whatever the last one was. And that's all you have to do. And so that's what that little field is doing for you. It's automatically, if you're the actual blogger, it's going to fill that in automatically. If for some reason you're writing a blog for some other person who's a registered blogger, these are all the people that are registered, and you can click on that. If the people are not, the person you're writing the blog about is not in this list, then they would be a guest blogger, and you would click on guest blogger, and then this box pops up so that you can write their name. And because we're hoping that if a guest blogger writes multiple blogs, we'll be able to associate them with what they write, we have to do their name exactly the same way every time. So I highly recommend that you just use their first name and their last name, no title, no middle initial, just that, and that will be what their guest blogger is. If they have some authority, like they're some famous ornithologist or they're a volunteer, anything that makes the blog interesting should be included in the actual blog that sort of describes who they are and why they're not a regular person that would be blogging. So if you do that, we'll be able to link better to people that are real guest bloggers. So I'm just going to leave this as myself this time. And this is the option, and I have to say I'm not 100% positive that you will have that option as to whether it's featured. It's usually something that Shelley or I will make the decision on based on the content of the blog. And if the answer is yes, that's where it lets me decide how long we want to feature it. That'll pop that window open. So I could put, it's just something that I just like make sure it's sort of on the top of that section on the website. I might put 5 days. As I said, I put all of the time up to Kids to Parks Day on that one. Okay, if you were blogging in the old system, you would know that our categories were park names and types of blog topics all mixed together. In this system, we have the state parks pulled out separately. So this is the list of all our parks. And you can pick, if the article is about a specific park or a couple of parks, you can go ahead and pick them. And the way this tool works is you would pick, like for Dalpit, you'd pick that one, and you just pick it, and it automatically goes and gets added there. And the same with Belle Isle. So now both Katie's are on the phone. If for some reason, oops, I didn't mean to do Belle Isle, I can click remove and it goes away. You don't have to, if you notice there's no red asterisk here, that means you do not have to include that the state parks. So when I do the Kids to Parks article, it's about all the parks. I'm not going to go in and select all the parks. I'm not going to select any particular park. So that's when, if you're writing a blog, say you're writing a blog about your park, and you're writing about, say, equestrian trails, and you mention a paragraph, some of the other parks that have equestrian trails, you're just going to select your park, not those parks that you just happen to mention in the paragraph. So we want to just feature in this field parks that are specifically what the article's talking about, not just a reference to the park. And that sort of applies to the tags too. So like we had a habit of writing, if your park had equestrian trails, even if the article wasn't about equestrian trails, the blogger might pick horseback riding. And the sad thing is that meant if you looked on the Virginia Outdoors page under horseback riding, that blog would appear, but it wouldn't have anything to do with horseback riding. So think before you pick the different categories to make sure. Some of them, I mean, if you're at a loss, almost every article could have something to do with an outdoor destination, outdoor activity. So there's always something you can find. This is a required field. So while you don't have to pick a park, you do have to pick at least one tag. And if you were blogging in the old system, you will notice that these are exactly the same as the ones we had before. The only difference is the parks are pulled out separately. So, and then the publish date is also optional. If you don't have an idea of when you want it to run, just leave that blank. If you have an idea, you can go ahead and put the date in it. And then Shelley or I, usually Shelley, whoever is approving the blogs and scheduling them on Facebook, because Facebook is the driver for when we actually post blogs, we'll decide based on what else is going and how when the deadlines are for those things, when we'll get them done. So we can also post multiple times a day if we have too many to squeeze in. So that's basically all of the advanced stuff for the blog that really has nothing to do with the blog itself except maybe the title. And now we get down to the meat and potatoes. This is the summary, which is that little blurb that showed up in on that list of all the blogs where there was the title and the picture. That little blurb there is what gets typed in here. And that's just like the way it was on the old system as well. That's also what's pulled when we post on Facebook. And if Shelley and I don't like it when we look at it on Facebook, we might fix it. But generally, that's it's sort of a summary of what the article is about. So if the title doesn't quite give you an idea what it's about, so like yesterday's blog, something about this is for the birds, that might not have clued people in that they're talking about the birding weekend at Hungry Mother. So the summary was a cute title and it might get people to click on it, but people that might not be sure if they want to read it or not can see the summary and decide if they want to read it. There's a 250 character limit on this, and it will count them for you. So see, it's changing the number here. So this is 14. I'm just going to go make this a little bit bigger. So yeah. So see, it's count at 14. And so you would put that in there. And then this is where the actual blog itself is written. You have an option of writing it directly here or writing it in Word or some other word processing software and pasting it in. When you paste it in, this little paste button has W for Word and it says paste from Word. We've noticed that it's not working quite the way we expected, so for now, don't use that. I'll let you know if that changes. For now, use the one with the T because that does it as plain text. The reason this is important is that Word, when you're typing in Word, it's automatically adding formatting that you already see, that you don't readily see in Word. It's adding different type fonts and sizes, and when you copy and paste into the blog, if you don't strip that out, it's going to change the look and feel of the blog. And we want the typeface of the blog and the look to be exactly the same in our standards, so we don't want to do that. So you should actually use this. You will click that box, a box is going to open and it lets you use the Control V for pasting, and you paste that information in the blog and hit OK, and it will strip the stuff out. So use the one with the T, which is the one in the middle, the paste in the middle. These two are grayed out. They don't work anyway. This blog, for some reason, the browser isn't going to let us do the regular Control X or even copy. So to do that, you need to use the keyboard controls, which is to remove text. You highlight the text and push the Control button down and do Control X. So if I wanted to do that, I would just go here, and see. I'll show you that it doesn't work. Oh, Andy fixed it. Never mind. So it does work now. It hadn't been working before. I should have tried that yesterday when I said it wasn't working. But Control X would work as well. So that's what those buttons do. This is like the undo button. So if I want to get my text back, I just hit that. If I wanted to delete it again, I could go hit the redo button. So that's just like Word. And most of these commands are just like from Word. This is the spell check. This feature seems to, when you're starting a blog, if you turn that on, it will do a red underline if you have a misspelling. But it seems like you have to go in and do that every time. So I just recommend you just wait till the end, but make sure you do check spelling. That should be done before you finalize every blog. The link is if you want to hot link to a different website. So if you're writing an article and you're referencing some outside information, some outside website, or our own website, you can actually hot link to that, and you would basically highlight the information, click the little link button, and then type in the URL address, or you can actually type it right from your browser. So I could actually type that and paste that in there. It'll automatically delete the HTTP that would have pulled over when I copied it over. It went away. There's some other things you can do, not just a URL. It's a great way to link to an email address. So like you could say, if you want more information, email Nancy Helpman, and then I could hot link it, and that would be to my email. And when somebody clicks on it, we'll open an email out of their webmail or whatever it is they're using at home, and it will automatically fill my name and email address in it. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. So that's a link, and let's see. So and we just fixed the issue so that whenever there's a link, it will actually open in a new window. Andy just fixed that this morning. So that's all set. So that's how you would do the link, and then the link is going to look like that. It's going to be blue and underlined, but it will look different in our actual blog. It looks like, let's see my article posted, which that picture was working yesterday. So this is what it looks like actually in the blog, just in blue. I usually bold it too, so it stands out more than just the blue color. And I did, oops, yeah, so these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts that are involved in that pilot. Okay, so let's see, where are we? That's an anchor. Amy White was telling me about that yesterday. I'm not sure that really makes sense. Most of our blogs are short. But if you know what that is, you can certainly use it. Adding an image is the same as it was in our other system. You click the picture, you grab the URL, and I'll talk about where to grab that again before the end of the training. You put the floating caption so that if you mouse over it, it's the caption that will appear. And then I usually recommend that you pull the medium version on Flickr, which is a 640 wide pixel, but change it to somewhere between 580 and 600. I like 580, but I think 600 works. If you put the whole 640 in without changing it, it's going to skew the picture a little. It's going to smush it. to get it to fit right. So you definitely need to make it smaller than the 640. And pictures are recommended to be used at where a horizontal picture on the blog works best, which means a picture that's wider than it is tall. Every once in a while, you've got this fantastic picture that's vertically oriented, taller than it is wide, and you can use that, but you would never use that at the 640 width because that would just make a gigantic picture. So you'll have to cut it back to like 300 pixels wide or something. Facebook requires at least one picture that's really good quality and is a horizontal image in order to get the picture to pull properly and look right on our Facebook feed. So make sure you have at least one really good photo that's in the horizontal version, which is wider than it is tall. And we can work with it from there. The other thing we found out, and this is important for people that have been blogging too, is that Flickr actually has a terms of service requirement that every blog that we use, that we actually link back. Oh, great. We actually link back to the original picture page. And I will show you what I mean by that in a minute, but I'm just pulling my Flickr page up in case I had some challenges. Not been a good internet day here. So basically that's how you would do that, and I'll go back through that again when I talk about the image properties itself. This is if you want to make a table. You can draw a horizontal line. If you want to add a special character, you might add a character that doesn't look right when you do the blog preview. If it adds like a bunch of ampersands or something, it's because the HTML code's not reading whatever your keyboard character was, and you can find it here. One of the good examples is the copyright button or the trademark button. Those are things that we might use, but if you ever wanted to use sometimes even an asterisk is not going to work right. So I am just, at this point, I want to just mention one other thing that's a little bit annoying about blogging. If you type a date, like today's date is the 28th, if you type 28th, it's probably going to, in Word, it's going to put that TH as a superscript. And when you paste that into Word, it might stay as a superscript, and if it does that, it makes the line spacing messed up. So if you see that happen, just back over it. Sometimes you'll have to go all the way back to the numbers 2 and type it so that it doesn't superscript the numbers. It really does make the line spacing look funny. So let's see, that one. This says YouTube, but it actually works for all embed codes. So like if you do a Google Map embed, a Vimeo or YouTube, any kind of embed, or even like a Flickr, a Flickr slideshow presentation that's an embed code, any of those things, you just click on that button and paste it in there, and that'll make the that'll put it in the blog. And then Source actually shows you what the HTML code looks like. So it has all these different HTML codes that you never really want to use, but every once in a while, if you have to go in and say delete the embed code, you might have to go, like you didn't like the way it turned out, you might have to go into that and delete something. These bold, italic, strike through, I'm not even sure what that does, but I haven't played with that one. This is for if you're making a list and you want it counted, or this is for a bullet list. This is your indent or unindent. If you want to do a block of a quote, so say it's more than anything longer than a sentence, you want to do a double indent and put it and it's like own little paragraph. So that's what the block quote will do. And then this is like the left, center, right, and we would never use justified. It just doesn't work well with the kind of typeface we use. And then if you want to try that little black box, that little gray box I showed you, that's what the special container is. and we put that in there. So we should never start with a special container. It should be somewhere in the body. So I'm actually going to undo the special container. Go here and try it again. The special. And it's going to go all the way across, but you could also center if you want it. So it looks funny if it's not, you know, a little bit wider than that, I think. But and you probably aren't going to want to mess with this. It does really weird stuff. So anyway, that's basically all that you would be using on the different icons for actually entering the data. And as I said, there's the internal comments probably not going to show on your screen because that's not an option unless you're an administrator. So that's pretty much it. So when you're done, you're going to leave it in draft and you're going to click Add because you're going to want to go and look at it and make sure it looks okay. Okay, again, it's not. Come on. All right, got it. Yeah. Why not do? Whoops, no tag. Didn't have a tag, so it wouldn't let me post it. And it's gonna, this is the way Yoda usually works. The same's gonna go back in 5 seconds. And then again, I'm going to click this search for draft because it's not going to be up here because it's not approved and it's not scheduled. And there's my test. So if I click on a little piece of paper icon and then I click the URL, it doesn't look like much because there's no pictures and no real text. So that would be my preview. And if everything looked okay and I didn't need to have to adjust anything, I would then just go back to this list. I click on the little pencil to get back in and edit it. I do my spell check, which if I do a spell check on this, I'm going to find all kinds of spelling mistakes. Yeah, so it's going to be find all kinds. I'm just going to ignore. Okay, it doesn't even like that. Okay, and then I just click finish checking, and then that's done. And when I've looked it all over, I've proofread it again, everything looks right, and I'm ready to send it to get to the blog editor, Shelley, or if she's on vacation, that's me. And then I just change this to awaiting approval and hit save. And that's going to go back, and sometimes 5 seconds is a long time. I think this is not going back on its own, so I'm going to click it. This is really getting picky today. There we go. No. All right. I'm thinking I'm having some internet challenges here, so I don't think it's the software. Okay. All right. So in here, if I did awaiting and hit there's my awaiting approval, and that's just waiting for. Now, if you've been a blogger before, you know we had this really strict rule about once you send it to awaiting approval, you can't play with it because we had no lock feature. So imagine you finish the blog, Shelley happens to be right online, she clicks in it, she starts editing it, you realize, oh, I want to change this word, you go in and change it, and you save it or she saves it, one of your changes aren't going to get saved. It's whoever was out of it last is going to get saved. And unfortunately, that would mean that if Shelley had spent a lot of time on it, that she's wasted her time. And if something you made a change that really needed to happen didn't get changed. So what we've done is Andy created a locking system. So if I go into this now, even though I wouldn't have done that in the old system without talking to Shelley first, I can go in it, and this is locked for editing. So, and I'll show you what I mean, because I'm going to go real quick into another Yoda login to show you. Real quick. Come on, there we go. Waiting. See how it's locked? It's locked by me, and it tells me when I locked it. So that's a really cool feature. It'll do that in draft too, although nobody's probably going to be messing with your post when it's in draft. The thing is, if I go back into my article and I save it and it'll close it, it will unlock it. If I forget to save it, it's not going to unlock it. If I just say cancel here, it's going to leave it locked unless I come in and actually click this button and unlock the blog and go back. The good thing is if you forget to unlock it, in 2 hours it'll unlock itself. So you don't have to worry about it. But usually if you go in and you make a change, you're going to want to save it. And I am going to go ahead and save it, get out of this, and then you'll see if I click on the other list and I refresh it, the lock has gone away. So that's a really cool thing, and we'll never have that problem we used to have with the old blog. So that's a great tool on this system for if you need to go in and make changes. Once it's been approved, it's not going to let you go in and change it. And there's the main reason for that is that if the blog has been approved and posted, if you go in and open it, it takes it offline. So nobody would see it, and it won't put it back online until an approver goes in and approves it. So you could make the change, and it, you know, if Shelley or I weren't instantly available, it could sit without being online for some time. And if somebody clicked on the old link in Facebook or Twitter, it would go to a 404 error. So it's just, if you have something that you need to change, just write to both of us, and whoever's easiest to get to it will take care of making the change. That doesn't happen very often. We have had, somebody write an article, spell the delegate's name wrong. We probably want to make sure we get that fixed real quick, or we find another mistake. It's usually not going to be a crisis if it takes a little bit of time before it gets updated. Yesterday I had one of our birding experts correct one of the birds in that article and the way we had listed the spelling of the other bird. So I went in and just fixed that last night. So every once in a while we just need to make sure that we fix things if we find out they're wrong. So that's basically all there is to it. I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about pictures in a second, but does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, that's good, I guess. It'll be a lot. I mean, I think you might run into some questions when you try to start using it, and then just drop me a line. I'll be glad to answer it. But let me go ahead and let me go back to my draft article and let's play with some pictures. Frankly, the easiest way to use pictures is with Chrome or Firefox. I believe that as long as you don't install the desktop for Chrome, you can install it without having administrative access. But you have to make sure you don't install the desktop. Firefox is also, again, if you don't install the desktop, you don't need administrator rights. And the reason is that the big challenge that we're going to be having now is that Flickr is apparently rolling out warnings to people that aren't using Internet Explorer 11 that their browser isn't supported. So it's doing some weird stuff. I'm having a lot of problems, but they roll out the problem. So Don isn't having the problems yet on Internet Explorer 10, but and as I said, Internet Explorer is having some other challenges regardless of the browser right now, so maybe it's something that will heal itself. But it's also it's more extra steps to get the the URL that we use for the pictures out of Internet Explorer. The Yoda seems to work better in Chrome and Firefox than Internet Explorer. Although remember, all of the applications like the interpretive numbers, the database, the attendance, those things all work better in Internet Explorer. So the stuff through SharePoint works better in Internet Explorer. Some features don't even work in Chrome. And so it is a pain to have to use more than one browser. So whatever you feel comfortable with will be fine. I've just seen some real issues lately, even though we're now in Internet Explorer 10. It took forever to catch up to there from what 8 that we used forever. But now 11 is out there, and a lot of websites may be wanting you to use that. So I'm going to show you both ways with Chrome and Internet Explorer. The Internet Explorer may be kind of funky looking because I'm having some challenges with that today, but I will show you where to get the information. All right, so I'm going to go back into here and scroll down. Oops. Oh, that's Stacy's draft. Never mind. I should have done that. Not paying attention. I'm waiting. I want to change her. Let me go back to my draft. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to put a picture in. So I'm going to do picture. All right, now I'm going to go to Flickr, and I really like this blue sky bus. That's cool. So I clicked on the picture. I left mouse clicked on the picture. And in Chrome, and I'm imagining this is like this in the other Flickr, although not in Internet Explorer today for me. Over on the far right side, there's, in the black background, there's like a little down arrow. Okay, in Chrome, if you click the down arrow and go to Medium and highlight that so it's gray and right-click on that, it's going to give you these options, and you would do copy link address. So that's what you're looking for. And here's the reason why. If you use this URL for the picture, you're actually getting this website to open in the article, which is not what you want. You don't want this black background and the stuff at the bottom. You want just the picture. So in Flickr, that means we're looking for the static link. And that's what that other link does that. That method does not work in Internet Explorer. If you right-click the medium, you will not get the static link. But when I call it static link, it's because the word static, you'll actually see the word farm and static in this link. And when you pass that screen, now the problem here is that's the right link, but this is a picture that's not showing up. And I will show you why. It looks fine here, but the problem Flickr's having is with the static link. So if I hit this view all sizes, I'm not getting the pictures because there's a problem. This is the Flickr problem. So unfortunately, this problem with the red X will also happen if you pick the wrong link. But as long as you're using the one that says static and farm in it, if there's a red X, it's because of this problem with Flickr. And I'm certainly hoping that this problem is going away soon. And it seems to be that the more recent pictures are more likely to have it happen. So that's another reason why I think they're having some kind of server problem. So the other thing, this is where you would put the caption, and that's not the caption that shows under the picture. That's the caption that will show if you mouse over the picture. And then again, if this were working, it would show 640, and I would change to 580. And then it'll automatically adjust. For some reason, that's not the lock should be locked. Keep the ratio correct. And then I would hit OK. And so again, this isn't going to work because I picked a bad picture. I'm wondering if I can find one that will work. Let me, just so we can see what it's supposed to look like. something older. Again. So let's try this one. And I'm just going to go to this page so I know right away if it's working or not. Yes, okay. So the other way, if you don't grab it from the little download button, you can also grab it here. Right click on the picture and it's copy image URL. So this either way works on Chrome. And I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to go back to the picture and I'm going to go here. Control V. Okay, and there's the picture. All right, and then you can put the caption. I like to do Shift Enter because that puts the text right underneath the picture without a space. What I also like to do is I center. You should center it for sure, and italics is nice. Whoops. That way, it'll stand out from the text. From the next line, if you're not using italics, so. Okay, so that's basically how you insert a picture in Chrome. In Internet Explorer, I'm going to attempt to do what I was unsuccessful doing yesterday because I had the same problem yesterday. So I'm moving you to my other screen. Click here. All right, now you should see Internet Explorer with the flicker. I'm going to, see, this is what I'm getting. No thanks, take me to this site anyway, but I'm going to grab this picture from yesterday because, well, it's going to be a pain in the butt. See if I can get it open. See, and this is what it's doing to me. I have no options. I have no picture sizes. I got really nothing. And I'm hoping this is not the way it's going to be. But so if I right-click on this, and I do properties. So there is no one that's like a link option. So you have to go to properties, and when you go to properties, you have to actually grab this image. You see that's where it's the static. And I'm hoping that actually is going to work because it doesn't really have the farm thing in it. So let me go back to here. I'm going to here. At least that's working. Yeah, see, and unfortunately, it grabbed the 500. I had no option. That's the only picture. The option I got was for the size, which is actually, it showed here. I'm sorry, you're not seeing what it looked like in the other page, but this is what you can see right here where it's only grabbing the 500, and I had no option for any other size. So I don't know, that might not be what you experience now, because I said Flickr tends to roll stuff out, but this is just not very friendly if you're using Internet Explorer. And I will show you what I mean, what happens with, go back over to this screen, and you'll see that there's the picture, and it's come over as 500. I'm not saying that these are good captions here. I'm just saying I'm writing them in. So ideally, we would never want that. We would want something at least 580 to 600 here for the width. But at least what we can do is, and I think, for some reason, I think it automatically is going to center the picture. We'll know that in a minute when I test it. Here. Oh, it doesn't even want to do anything here. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. Alrighty, let's see what happens when I look at this. I'm going to save this. And I'm going to go here. Or not. There we go. Yeah, so it's not even going to center it. So I'm going to have to work on and send some guidance out about Flickr if this is going to be some permanent change for Internet Explorer. But it is a problem because our blog is very photo oriented. You still can go in and I'll talk to Andy about why it's so hard to center that. Basically, the only way to center it is actually to write caption. See, it's not giving the option on the picture, but if I go here and grab that, I can center it then. So that's not ideal. So I'll ask him to either, we could probably default to center because there's an option here. There is, if you see right now, it's showing, yeah, I don't understand why it did that either. But I can fix it so center is an option and that's the default. Sometimes if you wanted to put a small picture and have text to the right or the picture on the right and text on the left, you can use those options. But if you're new to blogging, I recommend that you not try playing with that too much because it will make you pull your hair out. Get it just right. It might look one way in the blog tool. It might look another actually on the picture. So anyway, that's the way you pull those two static pictures. And as I said, Flickr's terms of services say that I should be linking back to the actual picture page, which is the one with the black background, so that I should click that. And I can do that one of two ways. I can either make it blue by clicking on it and use the link button and enter it, or on the picture button, I can click link and put that in there. And again, that's what Flickr is doing is they want somebody to know that they can link back to their Flickr site. So that's their term of service. For sure, if you don't remember to do that every time, I'm not going to get upset. But you absolutely have to link back to the primary picture, the picture that's the best, that's horizontal, that we're going to use for Facebook. And that's because sometimes we have to go to Flickr, find the picture and manipulate it, and we can't find it from that static link. We absolutely need to have the link that has that black background so that we can go in there and get a different size, because Flickr is asking for a bigger one. It's like 1,200 is what we have to do for a Flickr-sized picture to make it turn out right on Facebook. Sometimes Facebook is doing a good job on its own lately, but every once in a while we'll have to manipulate the picture, and we have to find it first. So if you don't remember to do it on any other one, you need to make sure you link to the picture that you want as the best, that you're saying is the best picture for your blog and is also horizontal format. Okay, any questions about pictures?
Nancy, this is Don. Could you show me how you got that link from Chrome again?
Oh, yeah, okay, and this is one, I have to say, I just found this out myself because I've been going to the other page, but right here, if you just take where the little down arrow is, where you would normally click that button and do view all sizes, you don't have to do the view all sizes. You just have to go to the size you want, medium, and right click, and then do copy link address.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because I've been going here and there, and then I've been going to here and here. So I think it was Amy Atwood that showed me I could get it the faster way the other day when I was showing them how to do the new blog, and I think, oh geez, that's like 5 different clicks. Plus you stay on the page with the black background that you got a link to also. So it's really nice in Chrome. And not so much, I'm having all these problems with Internet Explorer. If the problem resolves itself, I'll let you know. But I personally, I've never cared for Internet Explorer. The fact that we were using 8 forever made me care for it even less. But and the other thing is Vita's got it locked down so it won't remember passwords, and if I don't remember all the passwords I use online, it'll drive me crazy. So those are my reasons I don't like it. But there are some things, it's still Vita standard, so there's a lot of Vita things I do that I need to use Internet Explorer for it too. So basically that's all. That's the whole thing, and then I would go in and save this again. And I'll end up deleting this. If you start a blog and you decide you never want to finish it, you changed your mind, I can go in and delete that for you. Our old system, we couldn't do that. It stayed in draft, or we made it inactive, but it was there forever. We don't have to live with that anymore. If you already had a blog that you were working on, I don't think anybody on this list did, the old system, we can move it over if we didn't pull over the ones that were in draft. But I think I've been over my hour. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to take them. If not, go and play with them. If you have something you want to write about, we'll work. Shelley will work with you. If you haven't blogged before, Shelley will, or I will work with you if I'm getting it to be what we expect. If you've done some blogging and you've gone through a third party before, at this point I'm just trying to empower some people to write, hoping that we'll get some more bloggers, because right now we've gotten it down to not as many bloggers as we had in the past. So if there's no more questions, hopefully the recording will work, and I will send a link out to everybody if you want to listen to it again. I hope it turns out well, because I refuse to listen to myself, so I will never hear it. Any rate, no more questions?
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all for participating, and again, send me any questions you have. And there's no such thing as a silly or stupid question, so don't be afraid to ask if you have any questions. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you, Nancy.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.